Dear viewers, today our guest is Sandra McKersey. She is the chairman of Sandra Foods International Limited, a co-joint venture between Bangladesh and New Zealand that employs over 300 people. Sandra McKersey is a passionate humanitarian and a committed Rotarian. Today, we'll discuss her early life and upbringing, her business venture in Bangladesh, and the food industry in the country. Good evening. Welcome to Bonik Barta. So, I was really interested. You were a teacher. You still are a teacher. And then you became interested in humanitarian activities.
Yes.
So, tell us about that. Did your upbringing and early childhood play a part in this?
Well, it's interesting you should ask me that because I was actually born in Scotland.
Yeah.
And so my family immigrated to New Zealand. So I think there's an element of risk-taking already in my family. There was never any doubt that I would be a school teacher. From the time I was very small, I was always going to be a school teacher. But, you know, after teaching for 25 years, I decided I wanted to be in charge of my own business. And that's very difficult in traditional teaching. So I started a company called People Potential, and it's about training adults, really, or those youngsters who didn't make it quite the grade in an ordinary school. And so People Potential is a vocational college, concentrates on making sure that people come and leave with a qualification, not quit halfway through. So it needs special kind of people to be able to teach those youngsters who've often just had lots of failure. From the beginning, when my business was small, I became a Rotarian. I became a Rotarian because at that time, Rotary was about networking in business. And I was quite new to business, so I learned a lot from my fellow Rotarians. And Rotary is all about humanitarian action. So basically, in a nutshell, I came from Scotland, I became a teacher, I ran my own business, and through my own business, I became a Rotarian.
But then, from teaching to the food industry, what made you interested in the food industry and here in Bangladesh? How did that begin?
Well, it does sound strange.
Yes.
Because, for a start,
interesting.
I'm not a baker, never have been, and I probably never will be. I tell my friends at home I've never made a Christmas cake, and it's because I've been too busy doing other things. But business is business, you know. So I came to Bangladesh quite a long time ago, 11 years ago, as a Rotarian.
Back in 2015, I believe.
That's right, 2015. And when I first came here, obviously, I was quite nervous. Obviously, also, for me, it's really important not to give offence, you know, so I wanted to be sure I had the right clothes on. I wanted to be sure that I'd be dealing with Muslim men mostly, that I was appropriate and respectful. And so when I came as a Rotarian, that was made easy because everyone was very friendly and very gracious. And, you know, one thing leads to another. It's a long way from the beginning of that story to being involved in Sandra Foods.
So, Sandra Foods in Bangladesh is now a joint venture.
Yes, it is.
So, how does being a joint venture in Bangladesh influence the company's business operations?
I think it's a match made in heaven.
Really?
I do. I come from New Zealand, which has got a great reputation for very healthy food, for never producing anything but the best in terms of products. And so the company is registered here in Bangladesh, and as a co-joint venture, I have quite a lot of input, but the blessing is that we have so many clever people in our business who live here. Like, I was lucky that the Tasby Hussain family allowed me to become a partner, which allowed us to become a joint venture.
What about the regulatory requirements in Bangladesh? How did your company navigate the regulations?
Let me tell you, it's very difficult.
Okay.
It is not easy.
Mhm.
There are so many regulations, and it seems to me, as an outsider, that anybody can set up a stall on the side of the road and cook whatever they like and sell whatever they like with no regulations at all. No VAT, nothing that is inhibiting them just to make their own daily bread. In our business, Sandra Foods, of course, there are lots and lots of regulations. And sometimes when you are a small and growing business, you're an easy target. You know, if we were a massive business, then you have an infrastructure of lawyers and people who help you to make sure you're always meeting all the regulations. In a small and thriving business like ours, it's not always easy to know all the regulations and to make sure that you are meeting all the regulations. It's easy for an inspector to walk off the footpath and come in without telling you or without asking you, giving you some warning about what they're looking for. I find it quite frightening.
So you mentioned street food basically in Bangladesh. It's quite common.
Oh,
So, and the industry here in Bangladesh, the food sector, there are so much competition.
of course.
So many companies are in this sector. So, how is Sandra Foods driving its businesses forward?
Well, you know, I love the fact you asked that question because, of course, the industry is jam-packed with competitors. So you have to have a point of difference. And I think one of our points of difference is that it is a co-joint venture. Another of our points of difference is that we have right from the very beginning concentrated on quality products and to look always at ensuring that the quality comes first. It's not easy, you know, not just because of the competition, but also because the price of raw materials goes up every day, and sometimes it's a real challenge because on the one hand the price of raw materials is going up. On the other hand, you have to have an affordable product. You know, you can't price yourself out of the market. So our major difference is quality. I think we have very beautiful outlets, and I think we have very fine team of managers. And I think that, like our managing director Tasmi Hussain has been in the food industry for more than 20 years, and his family have been in the food industry in Narragansett for I don't know how long. So, you know, there's a whole lot of knowledge, reputation, and there's a lot of experience behind our quite small business. But in saying that, we opened our 17th outlet yesterday at Swapno. Am I saying that right? Swapno.
Shop no.
Yeah, and that was pretty exciting. That was really exciting because we're doing live baking. And we came from there this afternoon and I was thrilled. I thought it was just fabulous.
There are several reports and complaints regarding the quality of food in general in Bangladesh. How does Sandra International ensure the quality of its products?
We have very good chefs. That's the first thing. We have very good chefs, and they're very particular. Also, our managing director, as I mentioned before, has been in the food industry for a long time, and he would tell straight away if something was not as good as it should be, and immediately that problem would be sorted. From my point of view, that is not my area of expertise. You could give me something to eat, I wouldn't know whether it was excellent or not. You know, so that's not my role. In fact, you know, very spicy food and very hot food, it's not for me. So, you know, I'm a very difficult person to feed here in Bangladesh. But I have family, I have this team of people who go to the end of the earth to make sure I'm properly nutritional. I think that we need to have our brand is trusted. I can't tell you how many people have said to me, love your food. So I hope you try it and you love it too.
And Sandra Foods, as far as I know, mainly focuses on bakery and pastries. Will it expand its business more?
Well, we already have a number of cafes associated with the bakery business and a couple of restaurants. And it's particularly in Bonik, but also over time, most of our outlets will have customer service to be able to be seated. And we do prepare a wide range of food, for example, Chinese food, Bangladeshi food, Bangladeshi breakfasts are really popular. What else was I going to say? It's about meeting the needs of the market. It's not us saying we think you will like this. It's about people telling us what they would like us to make.
Catering to the local.
Yeah, catering to the local market. And I was talking to a customer just before in Bonik, and she said that she's so grateful that Sandra Foods is there because she brings her family every morning and every night. And the world over, people are also looking for ready-made food. So while there's heaps on the street, that's not our market. Our market is to provide really high quality food for people who can come in and sit down and enjoy it or take it home.
Technology and innovation is a significant force for any industry, and in the food industry, and especially for your company, how do you incorporate technology?
Let me give you an example. Today, we were looking at a live bakery, okay? And that live bakery means that all the machinery is there. They have to have the right kind of power, the right hygiene standards, etc. And it's a fascinating business watching bread going from the oven into the outlet. Also, one of our main areas of growth really is in delivering food. And of course, you can't do that unless you're highly technical, because otherwise you don't meet the customer's expectations. You have to be smart. You have to be quick. You have to say, we can do it in half an hour. You have to meet the standards of the customer are really quite exceptional.
Going back to the humanitarian activities, you recently helped initiate a dormitory facilitating 100 orphans.
Yes.
So, could you tell us about how your company is addressing the community development in Bangladesh?
Well, I think that particularly during COVID, we had a whole lot of projects going on within Sandra Foods. One was that we were providing food baskets to several villages. Another was we hired an ambulance service for a while. I think that any company who is working here in Dhaka, Narragansett, wherever, has a responsibility to help the people, whether it is by providing employment or whether it's by actually Dhaka. From us, if we have waste product, if we have food left over at the end of the day, that food is given away to people who need it. From my perspective, however, I need to tell you that I think providing employment is the most important gift you can give another human being, because they have dignity, they have the opportunity to learn new skills, and they have the opportunity to be independent. And so that comes from my background as a teacher. And I think singly that's the most important contribution that Sandra Foods gives to Bangladesh community, as well as giving the opportunity for very clever and well-experienced management team to come and lift this company and take it further.
So, overall, how does Sandra Food view the food industry in Bangladesh? Where is it heading? And adding to that, what are the growth plans for Sandra Food for next 5 to 10 years?
To answer the first part of your question, the food industry itself is very challenging. It's not easy, and you have to be You have to be committed, and you have to be hardworking, and you have to be absolutely sure about what your goals are. You know, you have to be really clear about what part of the market you're going to be, your niches, and you have to make sure that you get customer feedback. You ask the people who eat your food how it's doing. Also, we're on a path of continuous improvement and continuous development. As a business person, I don't like to grow too quickly. Do you know, I think that if you grow too quickly, you can not manage where you started. So I think it's very important that your growth is steady and reasonable and reliable, and you don't get ahead of yourself. We want to be known as number one in quality, and we want to be known as, you can believe us, you can trust our food. And so we need to consolidate and make sure all our systems are full go, and then maybe we will move. We're very interested in the idea of distributing food into the community, like having a service that doesn't require another company to take our food, but we could deliver it ourselves in a timely fashion. I think there's also opportunities to provide frozen foods. One of the difficulties with the bakery is the shelf life. You know, the shelf life of what you sell. You have to make sure that when its shelf life is finished, you don't sell it. Okay, so sometimes we need to do a bit more research and development on products that can stay on the shelf a bit longer. And from my point of view, that's very important. For a viable business, let me just add that the margins, profit margins in the bakery are minute. You know, that it takes a careful manager, it takes a very careful team for you to grow successfully. But I'm proud, so proud to be part of Sandra Foods. Imagine me coming from New Zealand, and here's this whole team of people and all these shops that have got my name on them. You know, my family can hardly believe it.
So you were a recipient of the Queen's Service Medal. Could you tell us about that experience?
I awarded the Queen's Service Medal in 2010, which seems quite a long time ago now, and it was given to me for my services to the community and to education. You know, I started my own school and I was very involved in Rotary. There was a combination of things. But I have to tell you, it's very important that a medal is given to one person, but that person represents a whole group of people. It represents my family, it represents all the people that work with me, it represents all the Rotarians that were in my circle. You know, I was a fortunate person to be honoured in that way, and I'm very humbled by that. And of course it stays with me my life for my whole life, and I'm very proud. But nobody can do anything successfully on their own. You know, you have to have a team. And in getting that Queen's Service Medal, I was representing a team, several teams. And just as I'm representing a team of Sandra Foods tonight. And it's been very interesting because my life has been full of excitement. And I look back, and the reason that I'm here even is because I said yes. I have, like, for example, I was awarded the Service Above Self from Rotary, which is a very prestigious award. And it was because I had a lot of Rotary international work. I was involved in a big organisation called Rotary for Family Health, and I was the world president of that. So consequently, I got this Service Above Self achievement once again, not by myself, but with a whole lot of other people. You asked a question a minute ago about how you get from a teacher to a business person.
Yes.
Well, you know, it's about reading a lot of books. It's about learning a lot of lessons. It's about failing a lot of times. And over time, you get better and better at it. I was really lucky to be initiated into the Northland Business Hall of Fame as their first woman. But that's because it's about resilience, failing and getting up and starting again. And I love being in business. I love being associated with Sandra Foods because I'm determined it's going to reach its potential. And every little bit of help that I can give is maybe being a woman, maybe being in business. I see things that other people don't see sometimes. And that's my major usefulness here in Bangladesh.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
It's been very nice meeting you. Alhamdulillah and Donabad.